It's Andrew Schatkin showtime. Andrew, what's going on? What's our topic for today?
We're going to talk about my favorite topic and something that our society, for me, is in crisis about. That is why people do not read and why they should read. Let me get into this. First of all, I'm going to say this, that I'm of the conviction that unless print medium and books are made available to people, our society will decline, and it is declining. Without print, our minds decline. That's my personal opinion. Let me give you some examples of why I think we are not accessing the print medium, ladies and gentlemen. The reason is, number one, the schools have become vocational places. They have become places not of learning, but of and I'm not blaming young people. Everybody's got to get a job, Neil. I'm not saying it's bad. It's probably necessary, but it is the price of our new society. And also another reason for the decline in reading is the fact that the liberal arts curriculum has been thrown out of the schools and been replaced by, and I'm not saying technology is bad. Technology is good. It's helpful, but it's the price of technology is getting rid of print. That's my personal opinion. Now, why do we need print? I'll tell you. People read books for various reasons. In today's society, I believe me, I don't think people read books. Do you think people read books today?
No. They do. Some people read them, but most audio books. They don't really have time to read classics at all.
They don't read that stuff anymore.
No.
Do the schools not assign those books?
They don't.
Do you think the schools have a agenda against the older Western culture?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's that. It's just that, again, that they want to teach it based on teaching to a test, and that's what it is, Andrew.
We say that again.
Teaching to a test.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you some thoughts on this issue. As I said, one reason for the lack of print is the vocational emphasis. Another reason is our culture is multicultural. I'm not saying multiculturalism is bad or good. I'm all for all kinds of different people. I learn from them. I'm glad to know them. But the result, there is a movement in our society, as I said, to get rid of the old Western books. And they justify it, I think, on the basis of we live in a diverse society, and therefore we got to include other people. And also, there's an idea that anything good in our society today, and this is the present trend, this is the present society, anything good is in the past year and a half. If it isn't in the past year and a half, it's not found on People magazine. If it's not found in Cosmo, it's worthless. You don't have new clothes, you don't have a new car, and this applies to books. If you don't, and unless the books are new, the old books are seen as worthless. Matter of fact, one person said to me, shockingly, let me give you some examples of what I mean. I met a kid in a bookstore in Manhattan, and we got into a conversation. She never heard of George Orwell. And George Orwell's 1984 is the most deepest, most significant books ever written, in my opinion. He has targeted the danger of totalitarianism through propaganda, which is our situation today, Neil.
Exactly.
We live in a propagandized society, correct?
Yes.
And that can bring about, as Orwell said in that book, I read that book, he said it in that book, it can bring about a dictatorship and totalitarianism because people are not able to think anymore. They are manipulated, correct?
Yes.
And that can be a totalitarian society?
Yes, it can be.
That's what Orwell said. I met another girl who never heard of Leo Tolstoy. I'm not saying that you should read these people. They may not have time, but for me, Tolstoy is one of the great thinkers of all time. I want to tell you, his influence was so significant that Gandhi, you've heard of Gandhi, right?
Yes.
Gandhi was a follower of Tolstoy in India and brought about the independence of India. That's another example of people not knowing these books. A third
Okay, so
example.
based on what you're saying, Andrew, I'm hearing you completely. Is that's the issue? That's the issue we're dealing with right now. Is people are not reading classics, so they're not as educated, and the
Well,
evolution
because
of people, the
there's an
people are not
idea in
involved.
today's society that anything old is worthless. It goes to people. You got to be young, right?
Right.
That's the image in television, in computers. Young, young, young. Anybody old is worthless, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So what's the steps? What steps do
Step
you
is
recommend your listeners to do?
we
What should we
must
do?
bring our young people and our society back to, I think, to the more traditional books. The more, and that I think these books are have lasted because they're good. It's not because they're old. It's not because they're out of date. Because they are good. They have lasted hundreds of years
Right.
and will continue to do so because they are good pieces of work. Read them.
Okay,
Take a
that's your
look at them,
recommendation.
ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Don't have your children cheated by a society that says it's only good if it's the last year. That's nonsense. You know it. Matter of fact, what's good is the ideas and thoughts that have lasted.
All right.
One time, a person said to me, "How can you read the Bible? It's 3,000 years old." My response is, "So what? It's old. That doesn't mean it doesn't contain truth and knowledge." That's about the size of it.
All right, Schatkinshow.com. Good talking to you, Andrew. We'll talk soon, man.
Okay.